Denver Broncos Mile High View. No commercials, and as always, no bullshit. So, looks like the ownership question is rearing its ugly head again. And I'm going to start this by just reading my post that I made on the Mile High Report. Then I'll get going into this. So it's a good lead off. Anyway, it's titled, of all the, excuse me, it's titled, Of All the Greatest Decisions by Pat Bowlen, he laid a goose egg here. Nobody knows when they're going to check out. With that said, Pat Bowlen should have had an early checkout, plan A, having made arrangements with a competent owner-to-be that he himself vetted, if anything sudden was to happen to him. In order to go ahead with plan B, most qualified offspring, aka the law of relativity, Pat Bowlen needed to be alive and well to oversee the process. It was absurd to leave this cliffhanger to a trust. Why? Because Pat Bowlen's current wife obviously is behind the push for Brittany Bowlen to, and obviously she has still quite a bit of pull at the front office, aka Pat Bowlen's estate, the Denver Broncos. Who really knows whether Brittany Bowlen would make a great Pat Bowlen, but one thing is for sure, I'd be skeptical of Pat Bowlen's current wife's judgment in the matter. A piece of the action. Enter Pat Bowlen's brother, Bill. I believe that's his name. Now, Pat Bowlen didn't say publicly that his brother was part of the owner equation. However, who really knows what was going on with Pat Bowlen's brother and Bethany Bowlen? I'm sure Pat Bowlen would have considered all of his children, no matter who the mother was, which is fine if you, Pat Bowlen, was overseeing the process. Any way you look at it, it's just a big fat mess. Maybe it'll all luckily work out, but excuse my skepticism when I say I think Bronco fans will miss Pat Bowlen for many years, as I do not have confidence that a real NFL owner is in the Broncos' near future. So that was my comment, and I want to first of all, just break it down. You know, we don't really know when we're going to go. Okay, we really don't. And, you know, when this is like planning a will, you know, it's like anything else, a living will. And unfortunately, Pat Bowlen, you know, in case of, you know, a sudden death, never had, you know, a son or whatever, you know, a daughter even that was close that immediately could take the torch, obviously. That's why we're in this big mess. But, you know, you have to have a short plan. You know, you could always die in a plane crash or something like this. So, you know, if you own a team, you should be, you know, I guess this is a good lesson to anybody in a similar situation. You probably should vet, you know, a would-be, you know, the trust gets, or the team gets signed over to but then again, I guess you'd be afraid about being assassinated. You know, that's a hell of an insurance policy. But, you know, you could have multiple candidates, and then you can secretly also have, you know, if you fear for your life that, you know, the guy you picked is going to sabotage your airplane or something. But at any rate, you should have, you know, somebody that can take over the team as an owner. And I would have been fine with Edgar Kaiser taking over the team if he wasn't 100 years old himself, you know. But, okay, we go to plan B here, the offspring, this mess that Pat Bowlen set up. And he set this up so ambiguously. And he's got kids with different wives, and, you know, I'm sure he did make promises, you know, but promises are one thing when you can go through a process with the offspring and you know, making them a future owner. But it's quite another thing to just say, well, I'm just going to leave a trust, you know. And there's this part about Pat Bowlen's current wife, and I don't know what her name is, but anybody can go check out. Was at all the Super Bowl stuff. She obviously has pull. Now, this is what sports talk radio will never tell you, That's why you come here, because, I don't have to worry about whether or not my press box passes to the game, to the Super Bowl, to the playoffs are going to get pulled, because I actually tell you what's going on. It's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, it's just common sense. Obviously, Pat Bowlen's former wife, who definitely has a vested interest to push Brittany Bowlen, okay, to push her forward, is definitely has, without a doubt, pull at the Broncos front office. Of course she would. No doubt. And this is what you would kind of think or common. So I'm sure she has, this is why that the trust is trying to do everything to put Brittany Bowlen, and this is the problem too, you know how it is. The other wife doesn't have any pull at the front office. His first wife, this current wife does. And his other wife that has the other the Bethany Bowlen, Beth Bowlen. So obviously that this is being pushed hard. There's no doubt about it by the owner's wife, current wife. So, is she going to be qualified too? And could she make the kind of decisions? I mean, Pat Bowlen was a pretty decent owner, and I brought up reasons why. He was really instrumental bringing Peyton Manning in, as a matter of fact, not just Elway. The biggest thing that he should have got credit for, and I was going to get how the press won't tell you about, they don't want to spill the beans. Of course, the current, they don't want to be in trouble with the current, former wife who's still capable and competent. They don't, you're walking on eggshells if we really tell you what's going on, the non-bullshit. But Pat Bowlen should have got a medal. And instead, the press covered it up by blaming, Mr. Ego Tripper himself, Josh McDaniels, in getting rid of Jay Cutler. Pat Bowlen and Cutler got into it. I should have had a radio station then, because I could have read you the day that the articles came out. And then they switched it. It was all of a sudden all McDaniel's fault. Well, McDaniel isn't the owner of the team. I mean, the owner of the team is the one that makes the decision to get rid of somebody like Jay Cutler in a trade like it's unusual, but that has to be signed off by the owner. But of course, people who had vested interest in Cutler they just want to just hate on Josh McDaniels, and this narrative started because they were, in my opinion, the press was trying to protect Pat Bowlen instead of, you should have just told the truth. Pat Bowlen got his ass out of the Broncos, and he should have got a medal for it instead of putting up with his bullshit, But, and then when Josh McDaniels got fired, the Broncos came out and admitted to such that, that wasn't really on him. There was other things internal going on. Well, fuck yeah. Cutler got into it with, wanted to make player personnel decisions. He flipped out when Shanahan got fired, and that's when everything went downhill. And he told, Pat Bowlen told Cutler he wasn't going to let him have player personnel decisions, and Cutler started shopping. This is before McDaniels even was in the picture. So anyway, that was is Brittany going to be making great decisions like that? When the tough decisions are, just let some idiot quarterback walk all over you. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm just using that as an example. There's so many other things. I mean, that, as far as an owner is concerned. So, I don't really see anybody coming forward. Oh, then we got the piece of the action. Yeah. Does it seem like the brother wants a piece of the action? It's almost like, the guy's dead. I mean, for the most part, unfortunately, Pat Bowlen is dead in the mind. So he's not, for all intent and purposes, he's gone. Like he would be if he actually is dead. But he is dead. I mean, and everybody wants a piece of the action. So I guess the bottom line is who knows if any of them are even qualified. And what you have now are fans going on and cheerleading about things they have fucking no clue what they're even talking about. I like Brittany. I like the other. And it's just like, why wasn't a decision made that in case of, an early death that, there was actually a competent owner out there that could take over the team. So I don't know. Maybe it works out, but I have just this gut feeling tells me the way this was it's a mess, and the way all this is coming down, that it may be a long while before the Broncos have a competent owner.